I swear to God, I'm not gonna only make videos about adaptations. If you remember 3 months ago, I made a video on Netflix's Avatar and no other videos after that. That's how reliable I am. But that video is one of the things I'm proud of that I've ever created. So I wanted to make another video in that type of style. This time covering Netflix's Death Note. If you want to watch the Avatar video, I'll link it in the description and you can watch it after this video though. Death Note is an anime that came out in 2006. It ran for 1 season and ended in 2007. Now don't kill me for this, but I just started watching the show literally 2 days ago. I know, I'm sorry, I'm a disappointment. But this show really hooked me. At the rate I'm watching it, and I'll probably be done with it by the time this video comes out. So did you watch the movie before watching the anime? Yes, I did. And no, it didn't ruin anything. Like, I'm being so serious right now, it had nothing to do with the original show. I knew that people hated this movie and I really wanted to talk about it, but I was in episode 3 at this point, so I did a calm research. Thanks to the good people in r/Death Note, it turns out you could watch the movie first and then watch the show, and literally every single plot twist will still get you. Every single suspenseful moment in the show will still leave you on the edge of your seat, even if you still experience this atrocity. One moment from the show that comes to mind is when L goes to university with Light, and the first thing he says to him is, "Hey yo, what's good? I'm L, and I think you might be Kira." Look at his face! That scene is arguably the best in the show. Like, oh my god, it was so good. Oh shit, spoiler warning by the way. But like, why are you watching a Death Note deep dive if you haven't seen the whole show? Now I want to get into the first thing that Netflix misunderstood. I'm not going to cover every single thing because this video will be like 3 hours if I did that. So I'm only going to talk about the things that genuinely piss me off the most. Part 1. You know how hardcore fans get when someone adapts their favorite character in fiction? I'm going to get like that really quickly, so prepare yourself. This is not my fucking Light Yagami. Like, literally, they don't even have the same name. His name is Light Turner for some reason. But worse than that, Netflix changed who he is as a person. I mean, his beliefs and the reasoning for him using the Death Note to begin with is still there for the most part. But like, his agency is gone. It's just gone. In the anime, Light is this cunning, intelligent, narcissistic piece of shit. In the first episode, he finds the notebook outside of his classroom. He picks it up and starts reading the rules. Like any sane person ever, he's like, if I write a person's name on this and think of their face, they're gonna die. This sounds like bullshit. I'm gonna do it anyway. But to be safe, he goes on the news and tests it out on a criminal. Thinking nothing will happen, he writes his name on the Death Note and waits for him to die. When the criminal actually dies, his skepticism is dialed back a little, but he still thinks it's a coincidence. So he goes out and looks to test it out on someone else. He debates testing it out on a bully in his class, but using that intelligence that Light is supposed to have, he decides against it. Makes sense, right? If he uses it on a random someone who is this close to him, it would result in him getting caught a lot sooner. So he tests it out on another criminal who's assaulting a woman near a convenience store. And when that idiot dies too, it confirms to him that the Death Note is real. Now let's look at the opening in the live action. Similar to how the anime starts, the notebook falls down, Light sees it and picks it up. But here's where the dumb changes are implemented. He gets bullied for a little and then gets thrown into detention for selling homework to his mates. This is when he gets the chance to read the rules. And here's the problem. Immediately after reading the rules, Ryuk shows up. And I understand that you had to rush this a little because this is a movie and not a show. But Light doesn't get the chance to make the decision to use the that's not grammar. That's not grammar now. Oh, that's literally what I wrote down. Okay. But Light doesn't get the chance to make the decision to use the Death Note. Instead, he sees the bully doing his thing outside, and then Ryuk basically goads him to using the Death Note. Number one, like I said, this takes away Light's agency in the story. The decision to use the Death Note doesn't come purely from him. You need an active character as your protagonist if you want to make the story interesting. Number two, it takes away the long, intriguing suspense of wondering whether the Death Note is real or not in the audience's head. I already knew the Death Note was real before watching the anime because I've known about the show for the longest time, but it still got to me. That 12-minute runtime that it takes for us and Light to confirm in our heads that the Death Note is real is super gratifying. But time is not a factor that dictated Light's intelligence. Someone should make an edit of all the dumbest things that Light has done throughout this movie because it's crazy that no one hasn't. Oh, and I just remembered a scene that pissed me off the most. I'm not gonna say anything about it, I'm just gonna play it.
You slow down for just 1
He
second.
did. That son of a bitch killed them all.
You?
There's so many rules in that thing. There must be some kind of loophole or something.
What's he gonna do if you go after him? Maybe you just need to take a minute and relax and see if this was the best thing that could have happened.
No.
But the most infuriatingly nonsensical thing that Light has done that people still talk about to this day is this.
What is what?
Your book?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
Do you really want to know?
Sure.
Okay, then I'll tell you.
What? This is 10 minutes after finding out what the Death Note does. Come here. Do you know the lengths that Yagami went through to hide the Death Note from everyone? The dude made a whole contraption. He hides the notebook under a false bottom in his locked desk drawer, and then he puts a diary over top of it so that when someone actually snoops, they would think, oh, it's a diary, that's why this drawer is locked. But if there's any reason someone would believe that there's a false bottom, when they try to forcibly remove the board, there's a contraption that would start a fire and burn the Death Note. The only way Light is able to access the Death Note is with a pen's ink cartridge. He sticks it in a hole under the drawer, which deactivates the contraption. Like, this is the biggest evidence linking you to the murder. Why would you just tell a random goth chick that you haven't even spoken to that much about the weapon you used to kill people? I can tell you why. They stripped Light so much of his agency that the movie wouldn't happen without Mia. In an interview with IO9, Adam Wingard noted that rather than being a direct adaptation of the manga character Misa Amane, Mia is partially based on the sociopathic qualities of Light Yagami. And to that I say, why? Just why? Those attributes are what made Light an interesting character. I don't want Light to be likable or relatable. The original show doesn't try to make you like Light at all. In fact, most people like L, the detective investigating Light.
Now I'm rooting for this guy.
You just shut the fuck up.
It's the same thing with Homelander. Both Light and Homelander are not likable or relatable at all. What they are is interesting characters. I do not want to connect with Light. I don't want to like Light. I just want to see what he does, and I want to see what will happen when he gets found out. You didn't need to adapt the version of Misa at all in this movie. You know what you could have done? I don't know. Focused on L and Light's relationship more. Speaking of that, Part 2. On Wikipedia, this film is listed as a supernatural crime thriller. I mean, it technically is, but should I really count it as one? I think Lakeith did a good job with what he was given for L. But my god, could this guy get even more impulsive? I just want to say though, there's a scene I enjoyed very much in this. This is the first time I genuinely laughed while watching this. I mean, sure, I laughed before, but it wasn't with the movie, it was at the movie.
This is L. Just making sure you hadn't died.
Still here.
Excellent. Carry on.
And of course it fucked with the whole thrill of L not knowing for sure that Light is Kira, since it made him 100% sure that Light is in fact Kira. But it made me laugh, and it was L being L for once. I'm glad to have gotten that. For a majority of the show, or the majority of the portion that I watched, L and Light are the two people driving the story forward. That's what drew me into the show in the first place. At the beginning of the show, we don't see L for the most part, and the only thing we have to think of him is this letter on the laptop, until we get to see bits and pieces of him while he's monologuing. But the fact that Light doesn't know what L looks like adds to that paranoia. The fear of this person investigating me could be anybody that I meet anywhere, and I wouldn't know that it was him. And because of that, his plan is, if he ever figures out who he is and finds out his name, he'll kill him immediately. Where is that in the live action? I don't know. And what pisses me off more is that this scene that I was talking about before, this one, they tried to have a scene that resembled that merged in with this other scene from the anime, and it just felt so flat for me. The thing is, those two scenes can be blended in to work so well together, but the setup in the live action just wasn't there, because L has basically been irrelevant this entire movie. Light isn't really looking to do anything to him, and L is 100% sure that Light is Kira. There's no suspense. It is completely sucked out. There's no, oh shit, they're talking face to face, how's this gonna play out? Is Light gonna do something that tips off L that he's for sure Kira? Is L gonna slip up and say something that will lead Light to figure out his real name? It just pissed me off so much that I didn't care. Like, how are you gonna... lightning? No, thunder is the sound. Thunder? Like, how are you gonna adapt a thriller and not include the main part of the original IP that caused the thrill to begin with? It's just maddening to think about. Part 3. I'm gonna do a speedrun now of all the dumb changes that were done to this IP, because I'm apparently too lazy to write a video that's longer than 20 minutes. The first thing, Ryuk. I may say this because I'm trying to be quirky and different, but I didn't enjoy Ryuk very much in this. Willem Dafoe did a great job, for sure, but the performance doesn't propel the entire character for me. Ryuk just literally became the Grim Reaper in this. Now, I know I haven't finished the show and I might be talking out of my ass at this point, but isn't Ryuk only just supposed to be there for the ride? I don't think Ryuk is supposed to be the one that materializes the death. And like I said, him influencing Light to use the Death Note in the first place takes away Light's agency. I might have pissed off so many people with this one. So clarity, I enjoyed the performance, not the character. And the last thing, the rules. Like, This is the thing that baffles me the most. Like, what was the point? What is the point of me getting into it when I'm already so pissed? People say a lot of the times that anime cannot be adapted into live action, and that also this movie is a testament to that. But I want to contest that. I think because of the One Piece live action that Netflix did last year, it is possible that a live action adaptation of something so colorful, high energy, and all around insane can be adapted into live action if done right. And Death Note is the stupidest example ever to make of anime adaptations always failing. Like Arcane, the Death Note anime could literally pass off as a live action. Like, literally imagine anything that happens in the show and visualize that with real actors. This whole thing was just handed to the wrong people. And that leads me to what the point of this is about in the first place. I have an announcement to make. I approached Netflix a few months ago and we're adapting Death Note into a live action show with me as the showrunner. I'm fucking with you. But it turns out the Duffer Brothers are adapting Death Note again. If you don't know who they are, they're the creators and showrunners of Stranger Things.
Christy, wake up! I don't like this! Christy, wake up!
And I have to say, I think they are the right people to handle this IP. Oh boy, I can't wait to eat my words if it turns out horrible. But I'm hopeful. They established a great reputation for themselves and I trust them. Before you click off and forget I exist, like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel and it boosts my ego. So do it. I appreciate you giving me your time. Bye.
Words like tidal waves will sweep me off my quiet cage and count my fireplace and tell me while I lie awake.